Hello everyone, my name is FlyOver and welcome to the new video. And today's video will be a little bit different. We are not flying anywhere, we will stick to the Microsoft Flight Simulator, but we are going to look into the options. And I'm gonna show you actually all my settings, all of my options settings. So you can see you already have in the description actually what configuration I have, what is my PC. So with the settings you will be able to see actually how I set up my graphical settings, and also we are going to look into control settings, to the joystick section, and especially to sensitivity. So let's just go first and check on the general options. And here we are. I am not flying in virtual reality, so I am in PC, right? And this is my settings actually. I have a regular 1080p screen. Rendering resolution is 100% of 1080p, right? Full screen. V-Sync is on. I find that is better when it's on. At least it works for me, but if it doesn't work for you, then you don't have to. And I set up my frame rate limit to 60 FPS because I don't need more than that, because my monitor cannot show more than that. My monitor is 60 FPS, so I put limit on 60 FPS, so my system doesn't make effort making more frames than my monitor can show, right? Logical. Okay. I'm using DirectX 11 because DirectX 12 is still in... it's not fully good, let's say like that. There is some issues with DirectX 12, so I'm using DirectX 11. And global rendering quality is custom because I have changed. Actually, it's high. It's high, but I change certain things, and I will show you actually what I have changed. Okay, so let's go down. Let's go to advanced settings. Anti-aliasing is TAA. Terrain level of detail is 100, and now you have all this is default, I believe. This is all default settings. Everything is on high, as you can see. Object level of detail is also 100. Volumetric clouds are high. Texture resolution is high. Anisotropic filtering is off. This one, I didn't notice any improvement if I turn that on, but I also didn't notice any frame loss if I turn it on and off. So I don't know, it doesn't make any change for me, so I turn it off totally. Texture super sampling is 4x4. Texture synthesis is high. Water waves I put on medium because there is no difference between medium and high water waves except in frame rate loss, so I just put on medium. They look equally pretty, but you gain some frames from that. Shadow maps, this is default number. Terrain shadows 2, and then contact shadows and all other things are high. Cube map reflections, I have no idea what that actually doing. I didn't play much with that. I just leave it default. And also these ray marched reflections to light shafts, right? Bloom I left on. It's nice to have that lens flare, and well, actually we have lens flare here. Bloom is you know what is bloom. I don't know how to explain. Well, you know, depth of field I don't like, and actually it doesn't have any change on your flying. Actually, this depth of field is more like here in your hangar, if I turn it on now, it will become blurred a little bit and your airplane will be in focus. But if you turn it off, it's more for this menu actually. Depth of field. I didn't notice that when you're flying in the world that you can have any difference with depth of field, but I turn it off because I don't like it. Same like motion blur. I don't like motion blur because it doesn't make sense. It looks like a movie, and this is simulator, and we're supposed to simulate real life, right? And when you're flying in a real airplane, you don't have motion blur in front of your eyes. That's totally, it's just something that I don't like. Lens correction. I have turned off because I read somewhere that actually interfere with something, but I cannot remember what. I just remember that that person advised to turn it off, and I actually remember that I had some problems, and when I turn it off, I don't have that problem anymore. So I just keep it off, and that's it. Lens flare is on, and glass cockpit refresh rate. Okay, this is important. Listen to me now. If you go on high preset, this is also going to be high. And that is your frame eater. A lot. Glass cockpit is like Garmin 1000 when you have two big screens, right? And refresh rate of all these gadgets you have on that screen and everything. It can peacefully go to medium. My all videos are recorded with that on medium, and you probably didn't even see the difference. So yeah, and you won't see the difference. So you can just put it peacefully on medium and you will gain more frame rates. Definitely this is something that will eat your frame rates. Camera settings, I didn't change anything, I believe. I don't think so. Sound is as it is. I just did I even change something? I don't think so. I didn't change. See, everything is. I just turn off music because I don't want that music in the background when I'm recording my videos, right? Traffic. Okay, traffic is like this. I'm using that ships and ferries add-on, which suggests that you should put 10% of ships and ferries here, because otherwise default ships and ferries will interfere with the add-on. So I better like to have more of them from the add-on than from the default. But if you pull it all the way down, you won't have anything. So you put 10% and then you will have more from the add-on than from the default, right? This one is off at this moment because I don't use traffic when I'm recording my videos. And if I'm flying, I fly online on IVAO or on VATSIM, but most of the time on IVAO. So I'm using IVAO and I'm not using online traffic or anything from the simulator. But if you can use it. Okay, you can switch that to whatever you want. But also you can do it from the starting screen of your flight. So it's same. Show of traffic nameplates, I have that turned on. Even it's not realistic, but I like, especially if I fly online on IVAO, I like to see actually who is in front of me, not only to see airplane, but I like to see the call sign and who that person is, that's why I have that on, otherwise no need, right? And everything else is pretty much default except this one down. Traffic variety I have on ultra, because when I turn on traffic, I want that traffic to be many varieties. And this generic plane models, actually, for AI traffic, I press on here. When I turn on traffic from the Microsoft Flight Simulator. Sometimes I turn it on for immersion or something if I'm not flying online. Then I want that to be generic plane models so they don't take a lot of my frame rate. If you go for off, then it will take models from your liveries and it will take more affect on your frame rate. That's why. But for IVAO multiplayer plane models, I have that off because I want to use IVAO. They have MTL database with their own airplanes, and I want them to be in full shine. That's why I have that off. So it doesn't show generic plane models, but it will show original models from the IVAO. Data is very important. So data is very important. I have turned on all of my functionalities, online functionalities, all of them. And this is also important for your frame rates. If you have problem with frame rate, you just turn off photogrammetry. That one will help you. And I have this turned on because you can have it on here, and when you starting your flight, you actually choose, do you want to see live weather or you want to see multiplayer people or real world air traffic people. You know, you choose that from your flight. So here they are always on. Okay, so I have a rolling cache set up on my D drive. That is not the drive where I have my flight simulator. I have my flight simulator on drive F. And this is D drive, and this is my SSD drive. And I have turned on and set up to 50 gigabytes rolling cache, and that is something that helped me. Like, for example, if I'm loading, let's say I'm loading on Split Airport today, and then tomorrow I want to go again on the Split Airport, it will not load like 5 minutes to load that airport. It will load within like 30 seconds because it will pull all data from rolling cache, and it won't download from the internet every time when I need it. So that's why that rolling cache is very important. It will not use. It's actually very important most important for the people who have low internet connection. I don't have. I have 100 megabits internet, so it's not that bad. I never encounter problem with loading my terrain or something with that fast internet. But if you don't have fast internet, you can even set up this bigger, and then whenever you fly on certain area, it will put it in the cache, and the next time when you fly through that area, actually it will be way easier because it won't spend your internet and occupy your internet. It will download everything from your rolling cache. That's why it's important. Okay. Next is flight model. Flight model is just modern, and you don't touch anything here as it is. Here I have my units on hybrid because it will decide by itself. For example, if I fly in US, it will put my QNH on inches of mercury. If I fly in Europe, automatic will put into hectopascals, so that's something. And this is default, so nothing much. Okay, and actually there is only one important section of general options. Other two are totally not important. So accessibility, I have here what I change the color. I change the color because if you change color, see, it will change the color of all of those menus. And I have this because I like this color. It's nice. And also what I change is cockpit interaction system. So I have, first of all, I have turned off these two tooltips because I don't like them to pop up in front of my mouse when I'm in virtual cockpit. I don't like when I put my mouse on the heading, it will pop up a big plate which say, oh, heading bug, you know, like I don't know it's a heading bug. I mean, seriously. Okay, for some people who don't know, maybe it's good to have at least until you're familiar with your cockpit. But I turn it off. I don't like it. And this legacy system, that is something that I already mentioned in one of the previous videos when I was talking about pushing and pulling the knobs, right? It has to be legacy. If it's anything else, switch back to legacy. Legacy is the way to go. Okay, so let's just jump into other options. Developers is off. I don't use it. If you use it, if you have turned on developer mode, then your logbook in profile will not be filled. It will be on pause. As long as your developer mode is on, your logbook will not be filled. So I don't use developer mode for anything. And virtual reality mode also I don't use because I don't play in virtual reality. I play on monitor. So yeah, that's it. Okay, let's go to the most important and probably the most expected options, and that is controls. Okay, so first of all, I need to tell you, I have a joystick and throttle. It's so-called Hotas. I believe it is state for hands-on throttle and joystick or stick or something. Hand-on throttle and stick, something like that. Hotas, whatever. Well, I will put you picture of that joystick somewhere here in the video, if I remember in edit. Hopefully I will. Okay, and so you can see actually how it looks like, and it's amazing. It has a lot of buttons. Before that, I have Logitech 3D Extreme Pro, and I fly actually for a while on that joystick, but it started to flickering and started to have bigger and dead zones and whatever. So I just give up of that. Okay, so my joystick. Well, like I said, I will put the picture somewhere in the video so you can see how it looks like, and then I will show you actually what I have set. So for the camera, I have a cockpit camera. I have buttons for the custom camera presets. That's the one actually that you can control with Alt 1, Alt 2, Alt 3, Alt 4, Alt 5, whatever. That's the cameras, and I have that set on my joystick. And also I have on head switch, I have look left, right, up and down, just set. So that's it. For external camera also I have just look left, right, up and down, right? Okay, flight control surfaces. So primary control surfaces, I have rudder because I have rudder pedals, but I also have rudder on the twist on my joystick. If you have joystick, you will know what is twist, right? So I have a rudder set on my twist because it's good for steering. It's good when you need to steer the aircraft on the ground. It's super good to use joystick for that. It's very convenient. And then of course have elevator for up and down, and ailerons for left and right. That's just basic things. Then we have a rudder trim on one of the buttons on my throttle. and I have elevator trim up and trim down. That is the buttons on top of my joystick. Where is your head switch? You have left and right set of 2 buttons. So on one side is my trim, and on another side is my flaps. That's how I set up. That's the best for me. That is how it works for me, right? And this is also spoilers, toggle spoilers, arm spoilers, and also I have spoiler axis because I have extra axis on my joystick, so I can use that for spoiler if I need to apply them just a little, or that's it. And this is the flaps. This is the buttons on top of the joystick, right? That's it. Then of course I have parking brakes and normal brake. That is the fire button on my joystick, the one on your index finger, and down below I have parking brake also under that. So then I have autopilot off. That's the only button that I need just to turn off the autopilot. Power management is throttle and mixture and prop. So this is 3 axes that actually work for me because I have them on my throttle, and this is my throttle, right? So that's it. That 3 things, and then of course I have landing gear. Now let's go and talk about sensitivity. That is the most interesting topic. Okay, so as you can see here, I have changed sensitivity on certain axes here, but on some of them I didn't. Like for example, this is my throttle. This is my throttle. I don't need to change sensitivity because it needs to be linear, right? So this is my throttle. But this is my prop axis. And I like to, because it's super small axis, it's super sensitive with fingers to move, so that's why I increase sensitivity actually to have a more precise setting when I move it a little bit, so it doesn't move a lot in the virtual cockpit. So that's why I increased sensitivity. Actually, when I say increase sensitivity, actually I put sensitivity from 0 to -50. That is halfway. So I actually increased sensitivity. You can do like this. You can now this is 0. Okay. So this is 0, right? This is linear. And now when you move, it go up and down, right? If you increase sensitivity, it will also increase the way how you do it. If you decrease sensitivity, it will take more time to react because it has curve. It doesn't go straight up. It's curving. So actually you have a little bit more sensitivity in your fingers when you're moving, and it's super difficult to put it back on 50 now. Okay, so that's it, right? This is my my elevator and my ailerons. So I also make them a little bit less sensitive just to have a more pleasant flight, right? And then what we have here is a rudder. We have a rudder here, because I want it to be just less sensitive and more precise for steering. And this one actually is my spoiler axis, which don't even need to be put on lower sensitivity, but before it was something else, and then I reassign it to spoilers and it stay like that. Actually, I think it was flaps before, so that's why I set up this sensitivity. It doesn't have to be, but it's okay, it can stay. So now when I told you what this sensitivity do, let me tell you what dead zone do. So dead zone is in the middle of the axis, like in the middle, right? Up, wrong slider. Let me just put it back. Yeah. Okay. So dead zone, if you have problems, if you have joystick with the dead zone, or your joystick is flickering or something, then you will increase a little bit that dead zone so it doesn't catch immediately in the cockpit and move your yoke, right? So you can here set up, so for example, if I put it on 40, and now if I move, as long as it's following the straight line, it will not move the yoke in the cockpit, and only when it started to go down here, then only will start to move the yoke in the cockpit, and it will start to turn the airplane. So that's the dead zone. Neutral is if your joystick is not centered properly. And for example, if your joystick is standing like, I don't know, somewhere like here or here, like this, and that is when it's released, when it's centered, and then you will just set it up with neutral to be centered, right? So you can do that. Extremity dead zone is a dead zone on the end, and what this does actually, it will give you shorten curve, and maybe you don't want to move joystick that much. It's just something that you can adjust to your own preferences. I have all of that on 0. And reactivity is something that it's actually, if you lower down reactivity, then when I move my joystick to the left, it won't move immediately in cockpit to the left, but it will wait for a millisecond. And the highest, the more you increase that reactivity, the more it will late, if you know what I mean. So if I move it to the left, it will wait a second and then go to the left in the cockpit. But I have it on 85% just for because it feels natural like that. So yeah, that's actually something. That's actually something that I have as my settings, and I hope it was helpful for you. And I cannot make video without minimum 30 minutes of time, so yeah, I was just thinking like, okay, let me make short video about settings, and then look at 30 minutes already. Yeah, what to do. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!